All right, well, welcome to our community quote segment. Tell me what your name is, first and last name, and spell it out for us.
My name is Paris Flannigan, Paris Flannigan.
Very good. Now tell me where you grew up and what your childhood was like.
That's a long story.
That's okay, we've got time.
Well, I was born in Houston, Texas, but then when I was 5, my mama gathered her things and then she came to Lafayette, Louisiana to live back with her mother because at the time, the guy that she was with, they were going through issues and all that, and she wanted to get away. So she took me and we all went to Louisiana to meet her mom, and I grew up in the country, you know, where they have the trail rides and everything, the boudin, and I started to learn about the Louisiana culture, and it's been history ever since. Now I know about boudin, king cake, Mardi Gras, so it's kind of funny. I want to go back to Houston, you know what I mean, and hopefully start a life there. But as is for now, I'm stuck with this rich culture.
Gotcha. So what town did you grow up in?
Lafayette.
Okay.
Very
gotcha.
small. It's like 400 people maybe.
Yeah, that's pretty small. What is there to do there?
Well, the place where I live particularly had, you go to church, we have a gas station, a pretty cool gas station actually. Like it used
What
to
makes
be,
it so cool?
It's like they have like a, I like to call it the IHOP of Lafayette. It's like it's a diner there. So I haven't eaten there yet, but I've seen Facebook posts and I'm like, wow, this place is really, really cool. So I mean, it's a very awesome gas station. It's very interesting. You know, we go to church there, trail rides, festivals, church, I think it's bazaars, yeah. Lafellette's pretty cool.
Where did you go to school?
Lafayette Elementary. Okay. Yeah, that place was very interesting. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I got bullied a little bit over there. But
did you?
Yeah. I mean, it's you think about it, it's just like kids will be kids.
Yeah.
But like, I've outgrown that, and you know, you'll be surprised. I see grown people bullying each other, and it all becomes laughable. But
well, if someone watching, some of our younger viewers watching, and they're being bullied or in a position where they themselves might be the bully, what advice would you have to say to them?
My advice would be, don't let anyone put you down or make you feel a certain way, because it's probably not true. Deep down inside, you have to know who you are. That's what I learned. And once you know that, everything that they're saying becomes laughable. You know, you have to go out there and like, don't prove it to them. Who cares? Prove it to yourself, and then it becomes fact to you that like, hey, I know who I am. Forget what you say. So I mean, just like stay in there. It's not the end of the world. There's times where I go through it and I just brush it off, because deep down inside I know my character, I know my self-worth, and I know my self-esteem. It doesn't depend on them, it depends on me, because I have to wake up in this body every day. So if somebody's getting bullied out there, it's not about them. It's about you and what you think, and that's powerful enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great answer. So you went to school there.
Yeah.
What about high school?
High school, I went to Northwest High School.
Okay.
That was a pretty interesting 4 years for me.
Okay.
When I went to that school, I wasn't so much of a bookworm. I was, you know, I watch TV a lot, play video games.
Yeah.
It's like a Tom girl. I love
Yeah.
video games, especially the car ones. Need for Speed, that was my favorite. But I started hanging out with this group of people, very smart, into clubs. They would go out, they would study groups, they would get involved with the community leaderships, and I was like, man, I want to do that. So I'll never forget. It was he was one of my best friends. His name was Alfred Sam, and I hung around him a lot. And ever since then, grades started to go up. I graduated number 6 in my class. Yeah, like it was a very awesome experience. I'll never forget him. It was him, Chelsea Checker, another phenomenal person I grew up with in high school, and because of them, I think I'm at where I am today.
What about your teachers? Did you have a favorite teacher in high school?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, I love her to death. Miss Priscilla Hunt was my favorite teacher. I remember this, there was a quote that she would tell us all the time. If you read, you will be dangerous. And if you're in the news business like I am today, that's a very powerful quote.
Yeah.
Because reading, you know, she'll give us this this little exercise to do, and it was this, I guess you could say like a question, not a questionnaire, but it would give you like 10 things to do on the list. Like 1, write your name on the paper. 2, put the pencil down, you know, something silly.
Right.
But it was funny because we didn't take the time to read the whole entire sheet. We just read the instructions, and then number 10 was, don't do any of this. Just turn the paper. It was like, don't do any.
Trapped you.
Yeah. She was like, number 10 said, don't do any of this. Just turn in the paper. And I'm sitting there confused. Like, why is everybody? I'm reading the whole entire, but I didn't take the time to fully read it, then start to direct. So she said, if you read, you'll be dangerous. Very powerful woman. I'll never forget her.
Well, kudos to her for being such a great teacher.
Yeah.
Would you say that she was an inspiration, or who would be some other people that inspired you?
At Northwest High School, who would be some other people who would inspire me? I'll have to say the people who inspired me the most at Northwest was probably my history teacher, John Babineau. He was very cool. I grew up without a father, so there were days where I would look at him as that father figure. Once again, you have Miss Priscilla Hunt. And I have to say, like, those two are the ones that made the biggest impression on me.
Great. So after high school, what did you do then?
After high school, I went to college, UL, and as a teenager, when I went to UL, I was pretty much trying to get the feels of college life and all that good stuff. And this time, when I was in high school, I would compete. Had to be the girl to get the A on the test. Had to be the girl that was on top. Had to be the girl that had to get this many awards. When I got to college, I didn't care. I was like, I mean, I wasn't selling myself short, but at the same time, I was like, compete with 3,000 people for what?
Right.
For what? It's college, you know? Half of those people go on with their lives. Some of them get married. They get married. Some of them have kids. Some of them don't even become what they were going for in the first. Not putting them down, but I'm just saying compete for what? I've always learned to create and not to compete. So when I got to college, the competitive side in me kind of died. And when I went to UL, I just took classes, took journalism, and the rest is history.
Yeah, right now you are at Fox 15.
Yes.
And you've been there for 2 years now. Yes. So tell us a little bit about what you do and what a day in the life is like over there at that station.
Well, working with News 15 is very fun. It's interesting. There's surprises at every corner. For right now, I report on the weekends and I photog as well. I guess you could say a day in the life over there is you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you interact with cool people all the time. You find cool stories to do. I love interacting with new people. I love getting out there. I'm a shy girl. I'm very shy.
Okay.
I am so shy. It's bad. It was bad for my self-esteem because I was the girl who would sit there, you know, go sit down and do this. And now it's just kind of like stand up, chin up, you know what I mean? Present yourself out to these people.
Yeah.
And you just meet new people every day. Now, the business does have a downside, not the business itself, but the external part, people. You have to be careful who you interact with because sometimes some people just I don't think they like the news. And sometimes they will be disrespectful towards you. Like, for example, I was at a bank and I was just getting some money out. I was in the News 15 unit and they had this guy who was in his car across the street and he just thought, he thought it was a great idea to just show me like some inappropriate sign language.
Wow.
That wasn't, you know, suitable.
Now is your chance to get back at that person.
Well,
say whatever you want to.
If he's ever listening, like, News 15 is not a horrible place, you know. If we did something to you on behalf of me, like, we're sorry. Like, but I mean, like, we're here for you. We're not here to kill and steal and destroy like the devil.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
We're here to uplift people.
Well, you've been there for 2 years now, and I'm sure that if you had to stop and think about a very eventful story or something that came across as very unusual, what would you say to date that would be? What would be the most unusual thing that has happened to you there so far?
I don't think it's unusual. Maybe.
Or controversial?
Well, maybe devastating.
Okay.
I'll never forget the shooting of Corporal Michael Middlebrook,
Mm-hmm.
the officer who was shot at the, I forgot the name of the store, but I remember that night when I got the call to go over there, and my news director at the time was like, you need to go to this store, this little, I guess you could say this, is it a thrift store or something, or like a gas station like store?
It is a gas station, yeah.
Yeah, and I have an idea of the name, but I just want to get it wrong on camera.
Right.
So I went over there, and it was like, usually I go on shootings, 6 police officers, an ambulance,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a forensic unit, that's it. You know, take 10 shots, 20 shots, go back to the station. I arrived on this scene, and it was like at least 90 to 100 people outside. I would have to say at least 80 to, it was packed. It had people everywhere. And I remember I was working with a fellow coworker that night, and he was like, oh, you'll be fine. Just get the video and go. It might be over. When I got there, no, it was far from over. The cops were very defensive for a good reason. And I didn't know that his body was still in the store, which was kind of like, you know, oh my God. So that night, that's when it really hit me like, oh my God, I'm in
Would
the
you say
business.
that was a turning point in your career?
Yeah, especially whenever they told the media to take our cameras and tilt them down, because, you know, out of respect for him, which I understood that. And at that moment, when as the night was unfolding, there were some things that you didn't want to see, you know, and I unfortunately had to witness it, and it was just heartbreaking. So that night, that just changed everything. I was like, wow, this is being a journalist.
Yeah, that's certainly monumental.
Yeah.
On the flip side, any positive things that, you know, small stories or things that lift you up that have happened?
Yeah, there's pretty interesting ones. I met a little girl named Daly who read 100, I think it was a...
Oh, the book?
Yeah,
Yes.
she read the, was it 100? I can't believe I forgot. I think it was 120 books she read in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was pretty amazed. I'm like, she read all those books in one day.
She did. She broke some kind of record.
Yeah, she broke a record.
Yeah.
Yes, she broke a huge record. And I remember that story. I went to me and her mom was making arrangements to go to the school and to get the story.
Yeah.
Precious little girl. I'll never, I think that's one of the best stories I've ever done so far.
So far. Very good. Well, I'm going to change gears on you a little bit and talk about AOC. You've been a member now for what, about a year now?
Yes, for a year.
Great,
yes.
great. What projects do you see yourself working on in the future with AOC?
I would like to see myself working with AOC doing maybe like a community project, like going around the streets of Acadiana. One of my favorite shows is, correct me if I'm wrong, is it Drives and Dive-Ins?
Yes.
Yeah. Something similar to that nature, but not so much focusing on food, maybe culture or maybe entertainment or some sort like that. I think that would be a pretty cool show to go around and get people's backgrounds and stories and stuff like that. So that would be phenomenal. That would be pretty cool.
I think so, and I think capturing some interviews with people that might be elderly that have stories that have not been documented before.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a really great show. Okay, so in regards to AOC, in talking about that project, is that something that you would take on by yourself? Do you have any friends or coworkers that would help you with that?
I have friends, but they're not so much into media and broadcasting. They'll be kind of confused, like, Bears, how do you work this camera? Probably something I would do on my own, a one-band type of thing. So I think I can pull it off.
Yeah.
So I think in the near future, this would be something I would love to do in my spare time.
Awesome, very good. Okay, now I'm going to change it again to some very fun questions. If you could spend one day in someone else's shoes, who would it be and why?
Who would it be and why? Wow. That's a tough question because I have so many role models going through my head.
Well, tell me about some of your role models. Who are they?
There's one of them that I'm not. Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. If I could spend a day in somebody's shoes, it would probably be the singer Rihanna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love her, by the way.
Probably would be her.
I think she's got a glamorous life.
She does. And I know she has a glamorous life, but at the same time, I would like to walk in her shoes to see what she really goes through during the day. I know she has the lights, the camera, the action, the money.
Right.
But I want to know, like, what does she go through, like, whenever she doesn't feel good about herself, or whenever she's going through something, or whenever she's not feeling, you know what I mean? Like, I want to know, like, if she's still human inside, and, like, how she feels herself up, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Well, that leads me into my next question regarding music. What are some of your favorite bands or musicians? I'm presuming Rihanna's one of them.
Rihanna is one, but there's also Demi Lovato.
Oh, I love her.
Yes, she is the bomb.com.
She is.
She's bomb. Demi Lovato, Maroon 5. There's other singers that are not known yet, but like Veronica Vega, she's on a TV show on VH1. She has an awesome Spanish song out that I'm listening to right now. It's pretty cool. I enjoy a lot of people. There's also another song that I'm listening to right now that's very inspiring. So it's kind of sad. I don't know the artist, but the song is called Hearts Isn't Gonna Lie.
Okay.
I think it's by a singer named Alyssa Hearts, I think. Shame on me, Paris. So yeah, I love a lot of music, pop, Taylor Swift, surprisingly.
Well, she started off in country.
Yeah,
and then
country.
kinda
Now,
moved
now she has like a little hip hop vibe to
She
it.
does, yeah.
I'm like, okay, Taylor, I see you.
What about Selena Gomez? You like her?
She made a song 2 years ago that I enjoyed a lot. I can't remember the name of the song, which is awful. But Cardi B, she's pretty big. I love Cardi B. I love her music. She's like she stands up for women, so she's pretty cool. I know she did a song with Bruno Mars, so
She does.
yeah. That's pretty much. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go back in my car and forget about a certain person. Be like,
That's okay.
forgot.
If you think of anybody randomly, just shout it out. What was the last book that you read, or are you reading anything right now?
The last book that I read, I can't remember the last book that I read. I usually read like newspapers because I want to get better in my writing when it comes to news and broadcast.
Right.
So I usually do newspapers a lot. Books on the hand, not that many books. I think the last book that I read though was probably Frida Kahlo.
Oh wow.
And I probably got to like maybe chapter 4 and that was it. But yeah, so Frida's another influential person who I admire a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in talking about people that you admire a lot, if you could have dinner with 4 or 5 random people, whether they're living or deceased, who would they be and why?
One would be Frida Kahlo, because I love to talk to her about her time on this earth, how she went through like the negative things, the setbacks, the obstacles, the train accident, her artwork. I would love to talk to her about Diego and their love disaster, however you want to call it. Very interesting woman. I would love to get to sit down and talk to her.
Okay.
Second person, you said 5 people?
5, yeah.
5 people. Second one would be Jesus. You know, there's a huge debate. One side saying he's not real, the other side saying that he's real, and I'm like right there in the middle. So, I mean, if it was a true thing, I would love to sit down and talk to him and be like, okay, so you said this, why? Okay, well, you told your people to go out there and not do this, you know, why? Or people have to go to church every Sunday. You know, I would just love to sit down and talk to him.
Okay.
The third person would probably be either Marcel Fontenot or Darla Montgomery. Either one of those two.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to sit down and talk to them. Very influential people in news and television.
Women
Yes.
in news and television.
Yeah. I would love to either talk to them
I think
about
their legacies in Lafayette.
They're very powerful. So I would love to talk to those two maybe. Hey, how'd you make it in business? What can I do to get better?
Yeah.
You know, better. Are there any trials and tribulations that you went through? How do you balance family, kids? You know, they're both married. Like, how do you balance all of that? You know, so I would love to sit down with either one.
I think you should make that happen.
Yeah. Why? Just sit down with both of them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I don't know if we're counting that as 2 people, but
Yeah.
I guess that's 4. The last person I probably would sit with is probably, I don't know if people know her. This is another news anchor, Rachel McNeil.
Okay.
Or Rachel McNeil. I'm getting nervous right now. That's why I'm forgetting their names. And Kathy Hernandez.
Okay. Tell me.
Excuse
about
me, Haley Hernandez.
Okay.
They're from KPRC Channel 2 News in Houston, and I admire them. They are my role models.
Okay.
Every time I go home, KPRC, turn on the TV, I sit there and I just stare at them. And I try to take down things that they do, and I just want to know, like...
So you study other
Yes.
journalists, and you study the anchors and what they do, and mannerisms, things
Yes.
like that?
Everything. I try to maintain myself at the same time. Like, I don't want to become them. I just try to take bits and pieces from their art. And those 2, they inspire me so much. So it's pretty interesting.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
I see myself in a nice home by a lake, river, or the beach. And I see myself as a world-renowned reporter going around the world, doing these huge reports. And hopefully I see myself as an Emmy winner and on my counter, or wherever I want to put it, on the shelf, with my dog, and hopefully with a lucky man on the side of me. Yeah, I'll be fine both ways, if he's not or if he is. So I'm gonna have my friends, my mansion, and my hopefully a beautiful outlook of a beach. So that's what I hope to see myself continue.
Well, shortening that time frame, what about 2018? What are your goals for the rest of the year?
My goals, I guess you could say, to bring beautiful content to the station that I work at. Award-winning content. I know that's hard to say, but great stories, great delivery, just stuff to make the station known for what it is. Focus on family and the community.
Anything that come to mind? Anything like, you know, are you thinking like hurricane disaster coverage or recovery efforts, or something presidential, or?
I like to do, my thing is I like to tell stories about people. Who's that one community member who just changed everything? Like that one person who didn't have, I guess you could say, a penny to their name, but they somehow they found a way to build a school, or they took like all the resources that they had and they built a pool for these low impoverished kids, or things like that nature. Those are the stories that I go for. Those groundbreaking stories.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, just a few questions left. You're very young, but when it's time that you pass on, how would you like for people to remember you?
I hope they say, my God, that Paris Flannigan. She was a hot mess, but I miss her to death. She was powerful. She had her moments, but my God, she came back and she proved us all wrong. Not saying that people are not putting me down or anything, but just to say like, wow, she did it. She got to the top. You know what I mean? You know, she was a soft soul, but she made it. If that makes any sense.
Awesome. If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
Bold, brave, and crazy. Bold, and the reason why I say crazy is because there's times where I surprise myself. And I apologize for that. I can be bold, brave, and crazy. The reason why is because I'm in this business, and sometimes I think you have to be just a little bit crazy, because sometimes they'll have these shootings, these fires, and I surprise myself sometimes. Like, I don't want to interview that family who just lost a loved one, or you know, that's, you don't, in the back of your mind, you can get cussed out, they can, God forbid, attack you, but sometimes you just have to soak it up, go over there. I'm so sorry for your loss, but can you tell me what happened? That's the part that I feel like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. So I think it takes a little bit of edge to do what I do.
And compassion too.
Yeah, compassion as well. I'm always compassionate. Before I interview them, I always ask them, you know, I show them sympathy. I'm so sorry for your loss. If you don't mind, can we do this interview?
Right.
Yeah. So I go off of their feelings, and if they don't want to be bothered, I just leave them alone. Yeah. And I say that I'm bold because the business that I'm in, like, it doesn't sugarcoat anything. You know what I mean? You have to go in there. You have to be tough. And
It's not fake news.
No. You have to make a name for yourself. And I feel like I'm brave because there are many times where I want to give up. Like, oh, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not, you know, I'm not pretty enough for this stuff. And I'm just like, you just got to be brave, Paris, and just go against the tide and take names and snatch souls.
Yeah.
That's my quote. Like, and I always listen to Earl Nightingale, and he's like, you got to go out there and just have this powerful mindset, and nobody can tell you nothing but yourself. So.
Well, in closing, is there anything else about you that you would like to share with our audience that I haven't asked you?
No, the only thing I have to tell them is go out there, know who you are, and don't let nobody tell you not one thing that's going to bring you down. And you're in charge of that. Own who you are, own your character, and you can do whatever it is you want.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes our interview. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.